In this video, we're going to practice solving proportions. One way to solve proportions is to use the multiplication property. Another method is to use the cross product property. The cross product property happens to be my favorite, but I'll show you both. If we look at our first example, we have 5 over 7 equals x over 21. So here, if we're using the multiplication property, all we need to do is to get rid of our 21 that's in the denominator. So we will multiply both sides by 21. Doing so will allow us to cancel out the 21s, and then we just need to multiply 21 times 5 over 7. Doing so will give us 105 over 7. Then we simply need to simplify that fraction, and in this case 105 over 7 becomes a 15, leaving us with x equals 15, or you can write it as x equals 15. So 15 equals x or x equals 15. Both will work. Let's take a look at our next problem. Here we have w over 6 equals 6 over 9. We'll use the multiplication property again this time. So because our w is in the top, we just need to get rid of our 6 in the denominator, so we will multiply both sides by 6. Hence the multiplication property of equality. So we can cross off our 6's here, and then on the other side we're left with w equals, and we need to multiply 6 over 9 times 6. This will give us a 36 over 9, which will reduce to a 4, giving us w equals 4. Let's move on to another problem. Here we have x over 8 equals 7 over 10. So I'll use the multiplication property of equality again here, and I will multiply both sides by 8. So again, I'll be able to cross off my 8's on the left, leaving me with x equals a reduced fraction of 28 over 5. Let's look at letter D. So here, we're going to go ahead and use our cross product property. So to start, I'm going to circle my diagonals, and I'm going to be multiplying those. So I'm going to have 2.4k equals, and now I will do the other side, and I need to multiply 1.8 times 7.2. And doing so will give me a 12.96. Now I need to solve for k, so I will divide both sides by 2.4, which will leave me with an answer of k equals 5.4. And I don't need to leave this as a fraction because my numbers were decimals, so I'm going to leave my answer in the form of a decimal. Let's work out two more examples. So if we look at our next example, we have 2x over 5 equals 9 over 15. So here, I will use my cross product property, although I could use the multiplication property and that would work as well. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply my diagonals. So I'm taking 2x and I'm multiplying it by 15, which is giving me 30x. Then I'm going to multiply by other diagonal. So I'm multiplying 5 times 9, which gives me 45. So I have that 30x equals 45. Then to solve for x, I will divide both sides by 30 so that I can isolate my x. And then I will need to reduce this, and if it's a fraction, then it'll need to be in its simplest fraction form. Reducing 45 over 30 gives me a fraction of 3 halves. And I can find that by taking out a 15, because 15 will go into 45 3 times and into 30 twice. Thence I have my final answer. Let's take a look at letter F. Letter F is a little bit different. Here we have 5 over 2 equals d minus 2 all over 4. So I'm going to use the cross multiplication property here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply my diagonals, And this time I'm going to start with this diagonal because that is where my variable is at. So I'm going to take 2 and multiply it by d minus 2. Now I have to distribute, so I'm going to have 2d minus 4. Then I'll multiply my other diagonal, which is 5 times 4. So I'm going to find that I have 2d minus 4 equals 20 because 5 times 4 is 20. And now I need to solve for d. So I will add 4 to both sides. That's the inverse property of subtraction. And that's going to leave me with a 2d equals 24. Then I will divide both sides by 2, which will leave me with an answer of d equals 12. And I'm done. And so that is how you solve a proportion.